What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Unsportsmanlike Conduct. I'm Christian Stoinev, and this is Frank from LINEMAKER Sports, and he is our gambling guru. And today, first, Frank's going to give us, what do you call it? A little gambling tip of the day.
Yeah, I'll give you guys a little coaching session. This is for, basically for people that are just start out in sports betting, don't really know much about sports betting. And every week we're going to give you guys something, a little thing here and there that's going to help you guys, kind of coach you guys into sports betting and make you guys better at sports betting if you're already betting, and if you haven't bet before, we'll get you guys going.
Tutorial.
In that. Yeah, tutorial. So for this week, we're going to address the first thing that you probably should always know when it comes to sports betting, which is bankroll management. All right, bankroll management. First off, your bankroll is the amount of money that you got set aside just for gambling purposes, just to bet on sports with.
Don't make it like your life savings.
Yeah, exactly. You don't make it your life savings. This is money that is meant to be spent. This is money that's put away to have fun with or to make money with, depending on what your goal is when it comes to sports betting. Now, the purpose for the management of this, of bankroll management, is to only bet a certain percentage of your bankroll per bet. So that way you don't spend all of your money on one bet and then the Seahawks don't cover the spread. So that is the example, classic example why bankroll management is very important when it comes to sports betting. So what bankroll management is, so let's say you got $1,000 bankroll. Your percentage of what you should be betting is standard 1 to 2% of your bankroll. Okay, so that is what you should be betting per game if you have $1,000 bankroll. If you got a $10,000 bankroll, it's the same thing. If you have $1 million bankroll, it's still the same thing. It's still 1 to 2%. That is your basic unit. That is what you should be betting per game. Now, you can go all the way up to about 5% if you want to be risky and you want to risk it to get the biscuit. You can go up to 5%. Other than that, you don't want to go more than that. You never want to spend half of your bankroll on one game. You don't want to spend all your bankroll on one game. You always want to limit it to 1 to 2%, and at the max, you want to go 5%.
So right? I'm at $20 right now. So what is that, like 20 cents per bet?
Yeah, that's about 20 cents per bet. So yeah, bankroll's 20 bucks.
I don't even think I can make a 20-cent bet. I think it's like $2 minimum.
So that's your little coaching session for today as for sports betting. And number one thing, that is the number one rule, is bankroll management.
Be smart.
Yeah.
All right. So now that we have that out of the way, we are going to go through the games coming up this weekend in the NFL. No Thursday game, so everything picks up on Sunday. Obviously, a wacky, crazy week last week with the COVID stuff with the Ravens. It was just a whole mess.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, they ended up playing the game on Wednesday, and it was a pretty boring-ass game, if you ask me. So hopefully this week makes for some better games than that. And we'll begin with the first game on the slate. It's Jacksonville playing Minnesota in Minnesota. The Vikings are favored. They start off favored by 9.5 points. Now they're favored by 10.5 points. And Minnesota needs this game like they needed the last game, and they need to keep their season, their playoff hopes alive. They are 5-6. Should be a pretty interesting game. And what I'm looking at here is to see how the Vikings are going to respond against a bad team. The last time they played a bad team, I wouldn't put the Panthers necessarily as a horrible team, but they barely squeaked out a win against them. But the week before, they played the Cowboys, who everyone thought they would beat. I think the line for that was over 7, and the Vikings lost. So crucial game for them at home, even though it's against the Jaguars. And the Jaguars are starting Mike Glennon. He threw 2 touchdown passes last week against the Browns. So, a dude that's been in the game for a while might know what he's doing. And the only other injury concern for the Jaguars is DJ Chark. It's questionable for the Vikings. Dalvin looked banged up last week, but he got back in the game. He's listed as questionable, but I'm pretty sure he'll play. Anything in particular you're looking for?
And that's a big thing. I mean, obviously, Dalvin Cook, you got to look for him to play. You got to manage that and make sure he's playing, because that's a big part of the Vikings offense is Dalvin Cook. And the Jaguars, Glennon, I'm not sold on Glennon. I think he had a decent week, but I don't know. I mean, the Vikings laying 10.5 points, that runs on a key number. So a key number, here's a little coaching session again for y'all. Here we go. Key numbers, guys. Key numbers is like your 10.5, your 7.5, your 3.5. Those are numbers because you need 2 possessions. You need to be over by 2 possessions to win that game. So even if they win by a touchdown, a field goal, that's only 10. You're still getting screwed by half a point there. Right. So they basically need to win by 2 touchdowns, is what you're saying when it comes to the Vikings here. Now, that's a lot of points to be laying for Minnesota. They haven't been that great at laying points. I mean, they are 6-4 against the spread in the last 10, But it's just, I don't know. It's a little iffy when it comes to laying that many points on a team that's not for sure like an offensive powerhouse. Right. Like, I like the Vikings, and I think they are a pretty good team, but their defense lacks a little bit, and their offense is a little bit one-dimensional. They really just like to run Dalvin Cook to the bone. Right. And on the Jaguars' end, with Glennon at quarterback, I don't really see that they're going to do too much. But in this game, it's kind of weird because they have pushed that threshold that the Vikings opened up at -9.5, and now it's at 10.5. So instead of it being touchdown field goal, now they need to win by 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, and it shows most of the money, 56%, is on the Jaguars, right? That's what I mean. Yeah. So we'll see what happens with that matchup. Right now, as it stands, Vikings are favored by 10.5. We'll see. They need to take care of business. Atlanta, the Falcons are home, and they take on the New Orleans Saints, who just won ugly this last week. They beat the quarterback-less
Denver Broncos.
Yeah, Denver Broncos. Did you know that their quarterback, Hinton, the guy that they put in last week, he was working a sales job a month ago?
I seen that.
So your local Best Buy salesman
ended up being the quarterback
for the Broncos
Yeah.
And put up a 13-yard pass and went 1 for 9. But
I'm surprised they didn't let him pass more.
I would have just let him.
Yeah.
I'm surprised he just didn't call off plays too.
I know.
They're like, run again. He'll be like, nah.
Yeah.
Launching.
He made like $35,000 for that game. So
yeah, I know, right?
I guess it was worth it.
It was worth it. So and he walked away healthy.
Yeah.
So it's all good.
Yeah.
So so the Saints, obviously they're 9-2. They're top of the NFC South. This is a division game in Atlanta, and the Falcons just routed the Raiders last week. That was so
That
ugly.
came out of nowhere. That was so random that it's just like, I don't even know. The Falcons, honestly, I thought the Falcons were a dead team. I just thought they weren't doing anything, and then all of a sudden out of nowhere they just pop up and destroy the Raiders.
I think they've been probably playing 500 ball since they fired their head coach Dan Quinn. I think it was like week 5 or something. So they're not doing too bad. The Saints are favored by 3. Taysom Hill will be starting.
Julio Jones is questionable.
Yeah. Todd Gurley is questionable. But they were both out last week against the Raiders.
Another thing that shocked me was, like, I mean, you're losing your key players and then you just go and absolutely destroy the Raiders. The Raiders I thought were decent. A decent team. I mean, they go and beat the Chiefs. And then, again, they almost beat the Chiefs. They hung with them. Then they get destroyed by the Falcons. So
the Raiders screwed up because they needed that game based on everything else that happened, too. They could have jumped the Ravens in the standings. So now they're on the outside looking in and need help to get in the playoffs. So not a good game for the Raiders. That was bad.
It is. That is bad.
The Bears, coming off that Sunday night football, lost to the Packers, who also smacked them around. They're at home against the shitty Lions, the Detroit Lions.
Just fired Matt Patricia, too.
Yeah, which actually I feel like that might be something that comes into play here because the Bears are favored by 3. And from experience, me being a Vikings fan, I witnessed this the week after the Falcons fired Dan Quinn. They beat the Vikings on the road. So there's something to that, especially obviously if the coach is getting fired means the locker room and things haven't been going well. With Matt Patricia, it feels like they hated his ass. So it feels like that team is probably going to be really happy that he's gone. So I don't know. This might be the game where if you're looking at the gambling odds, the upset happens because I could see the Lions going into Chicago and winning. Nick Foles is questionable, but I think even if he was healthy at this point, just you know what Nick Foles is. Yeah. Just start Trubisky. I mean, I think you know what Trubisky is too. But at this point, he didn't look that great last week, but he does give you a better chance to win if you're still trying to win. I think, because he's mobile and he can. When it comes to passing, him and Foles, whatever, I think they cancel each other out. But Trubisky at least provides that running threat. Yeah. So is there anything else that you're looking?
Well, I mean, depending on how they play, after their coach being fired, going off of how they played this season, I mean, you got, the Detroit Lions offense has been absolutely terrible, and the Chicago Bears defense is actually. I mean, I know they gave up a ton of points to the Green Bay Packers, but the Bears defense is still a solid defense.
And the Packers got a defensive touchdown in that game too.
Yeah, so I mean, going against Detroit, then for some reason Stafford just doesn't look like his normal self. He doesn't look like a great quarterback like he used to be, like a gunslinger. He doesn't look like that anymore for some reason. And Khalil Mack is probably going to get to him a couple of times and rough him up. So I do think this is going to be more of kind of maybe a defensive game. rather than offenses going anywhere. Because we know Chicago's offense is terrible.
Yeah.
And, this just seems like two terrible offenses going against each other.
We'll see what happens. And for the Lions, Kenny Golladay is questionable, so that injury might affect Stafford a lot more as well.
Yeah.
The Colts, coming off getting pretty much smacked all over the place by the Titans, are now 7-4, and they play at the Texans. The Texans lately have been playing a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. What do you make of this game?
Well, I mean, the Texans have been playing a little bit better. The Texans' defense is still suspect. Their defense is not too good. And Indianapolis showed that their defense isn't that great as well. And I don't know. In this game, you're looking at how Deshaun Watson obviously is going to play for Houston. That is like the big telltale sign, because if he comes out and he's balling, then they should be able to put up enough points, and they could possibly win this game. And right now they are an underdog at home, a home underdog against an Indianapolis team that is coming off getting destroyed. So there is some value on Houston here at home, but Indianapolis is going to come in with the revenge in mind because they just got shitted on by the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah, and David Johnson is questionable for the Texans, and Will Fuller came out earlier this week on Instagram, and I respect that he did this. He beat the press pretty much and just was his own reporter and just admitted that he took some steroids or some shit, whatever, something. He took some medical thing that was illegal and banned by the NFL. So he is suspended for 6 games. So he is out for the rest of the year for the Texans. So at this point, it looks like Watson is going to have really no weapon. It's going to be pretty much him.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see what happens because, that is a big loss for the Texans. And that's why I do think this number reflects that. That's why they're underdogs at home.
Right. So we'll see where that goes. The Bengals, without Joe Burrow, are playing in Miami. This line, Dolphins are 11.5-point favorites. I feel like that's kind of high because the Bengals didn't play terrible against. They didn't play terrible last week against the Giants. They had a chance to actually come back and win there at the end. Mm-hmm. So interesting matchup. Tua is questionable. This team is the most interesting team to me coming down the stretch here. The Dolphins. They're 7-4. They were coming off a high, feeling great. And then obviously they lost to the Broncos, which everyone was surprised about. Mm-hmm. And that Tua started, and then they put in Fitzpatrick. Then Fitzpatrick played against the Jets, beat the Jets 20-3. So now, if Tua's healthy, who you start? I mean, they're saying that Tua's still the starter, but if you're trying to make the playoffs, actually, then I think you put in Ryan Fitzpatrick here.
Yeah, I mean, I like Fitzpatrick because I like him because he's just a baller. Like, he goes in there and he's just a wild card. And he's going to give his receivers 50-50 balls, and he's going to just risk it. He's going to risk throws, and he's going to make dangerous throws. And that's why I think you have two different offenses when you have the Tua comes in and plays, and Fitzpatrick when he comes in. When Tua comes in, it's more of a conservative offense where they're going to be running the ball a lot, and they're going to be picking a small little throws here and there for Tua to make. Then when you put Fitzpatrick in, it's like all go mode. Yeah. Let's go. Let's throw 50-yard bombs.
He's like the luxury Nick Foles.
Yeah,
I feel like
it is.
He's like a backup quarterback that, like, when he comes in, I feel like the team gets motivated.
Yeah.
Nick Foles has obviously lost that now because he's become the.
It's a momentum shift for some reason. Yeah. When Fitzpatrick plays, it's a whole momentum shift,
right.
And that's why it depends on who's going to play at quarterback really in this game to determine where. If Fitzpatrick plays, I can see Miami covering minus 11.5 because they'll ball out. And well, honestly, it actually depends. Okay, if Fitzpatrick plays, then the good Fitzpatrick has to show up on top of that because there's a Fitzpatrick that shows up and can throw 4 picks. You never really know. Like I said, he's a wild card.
Taker.
Yeah, he's a wild card. You don't know which one you're going to get from him. He could throw 400 yards, 4 touchdowns, or he could throw for 100 yards and throw 4 picks. Yeah. So you don't really know what to expect from him. The Miami Dolphins defense is actually very, very good, though. Right. I like their defense. Their defense is rock solid. For some reason, it seems like they get a defensive touchdown every single week, too.
Yeah.
So they are very solid. Also, Bengals have yet to even win a game on the road. They're quarterback-less. So that's what reflects this big spread, obviously, for this Dolphins game. But you definitely want to keep an eye on who's going to be playing quarterback.
Hopefully it's just not a trap game for the Dolphins. Obviously, you have the Bengals coming in. You're 7-4. You're feeling like this is a dub. You're going to go 8-4. And then sometimes you get caught sleeping like that. So
yeah, so we'll see who starts at quarterback for that game, or who plays most of the game for the quarterback in that game.
That's the interesting look on that one. The Browns are on the road to play Tennessee. The Browns feeling good. They're 8-3. I think they've won like 4 in a row. They're feeling good. Baker, I feel like has been limited purposely, and they're coming in as 5.5 point underdogs in Tennessee to the Titans. And I think a lot of that is obviously the Titans, how well they played in Indianapolis. The Titans are 4-2 at home. They're 8-3. So both teams 8-3. This is pretty much a playoff kind of vibe for seeding. So anything you're looking at here?
This is basically a test for Cleveland, because Cleveland is great against below 500 teams, and they're not good against teams that are over 500. So this is going to be the Cleveland test to see if this 8-3 record is just a false flag, or if they're actually a good team or not. Yeah, if they're legit or not, because Tennessee's no joke. Tennessee's a good team. They're good defensively. They're good offensively. Derrick Henry can run over anybody that's on that football field.
A beast.
Yeah, so this is going to be a huge test for Cleveland. And if Cleveland is nowhere near playoff worthy, nowhere near anything worthy, they're going to lose this game.
Yeah. So that one also 1 o'clock Eastern on Sunday. Our Raiders, Las Vegas Raiders, are in New York to take on the Jets, who are still winless, with Adam Gase still coaching them up. And the Raiders come in as 9-point favorites. The Raiders, pretty embarrassing loss that we talked about to the Falcons last week. Now they're 6-5. So now they got some work to do. This is a must win for them if they want to get into the playoffs.
Yeah.
So, the one thing I'm looking at, Josh Jacobs last week on that fumble towards the end of the game, looked like his ankle got banged up. He's questionable. I think that matters a lot, not for whether they win or not, but for this line that's at 9 points, because obviously they can control the clock down the stretch if they're up by a touchdown or so, or 10 points with Josh Jacobs. So we'll see what happens there. But the Raiders need this game, and the Jets need this loss so they can get Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
So
I mean, you got Las Vegas on the road, give it 9 points now, and it's like you don't know what Vegas team's going to show up now, because you just don't know. Look what happened with the Falcons. You would think that they were just going to rout the Falcons, and then they get smashed. Now they're going to play the Jets, who are a terrible team, a terrible squad. And
do you think Gase on the sidelines is like staring at that fly also?
I think so. I think he's more like just staring around. He doesn't know what the hell he's doing. Because I don't even understand why he's still the coach, to be honest with you. I don't even know why he's still the coach.
I'll tell you why. Trevor Lawrence. That's why.
If even he gets Trevor Lawrence, I don't think he's going to know what to do with him. But anyway, back to this game. That's a heavy spread for Vegas to cover on the road. And I do think this is a must-win for them. And I think they need to come in and they need to absolutely ball. But I don't trust. I would stay away from this game.
Yeah,
personally.
I agree. This is a stay away.
Yeah, because I honestly, if the Raiders went last week and destroyed the Falcons, I'd be all over the Raiders -9 this week.
This line would probably be like -13.
Yeah, but like you see them get blown out, so they are suspect to getting blown out by bad teams. So, or to lose to bad teams. So I'm not laying 9 points on the road. I'm sorry. There's no way I'm laying 9 points on the road for Vegas.
Yeah, I'm staying away from that too.
Yeah.
The Giants playing in Seattle. This game is interesting because the Seahawks are 10-point favorites. The line moved from 7.5 to 10 points, and I'm assuming it's because of the Daniel Jones news. He is questionable, and I think that's a huge deal. Obviously, if he plays, I would take the points, because I think the Giants actually they've been winning lately. I know they're only 4-7, but they've either been winning or competing. I think a lot of those losses have been close games, and we'll see what happens. But the Giants are that team that they play for Joe Judge. They like their head coach. He's a hard ass, and I think the team is bought into that. They beat the Bengals last week on the road, and they're in the NFC East, where they literally can make the playoffs as a division winner.
Now, this is a game, another one I'm going to say a stay away game. Now, here's the reason why I'm going to have a stay away game on this. First, obviously, you don't know if Daniel Jones is playing or
Colt
whatnot.
McCoy's the backup, by the way.
Colt McCoy is the backup, which he's not that bad. He's been a decent quarterback. He's been in the league a long time and been floating around as backup for a while. But Seattle, their defense is ranked dead last in giving up passing yards. So against the quarterback, no matter who the hell the quarterback is, they give up passing yards. Now, let's just look at them playing the Eagles. Carson Wentz is absolutely terrible. and he still was able to pass the ball a little bit on that team. So Seattle's defense is very suspect. So it's hard to lay 10 points on a team that defensively is just suspect.
Yeah,
because you have to rely
time touchdowns.
Because even if Seattle's offense comes in here, goes up by 2 touchdowns, you have to rely on that defense to be able to stop the Giants from doing anything to even get close to that point spread whatsoever. Right. So I never will bet a double-digit favorite with a defense that is suspect, because honestly, and if we're going to take this season for an example, the Green Bay Packers is a great example, because the Green Bay Packers have been double-digit favorites a couple times and have yet to cover it because
the Jaguars game they were 13-point
exactly,
favorite.
And because their defense is suspect, their defense gives up points. So when you're giving up points, it's hard. You need defense. You need your defense to do its job for your offense to go up multiple scores.
Right.
So when you have a suspect defense, it's hard to lay double-digit points, no matter who you're really playing.
Yeah. So and most of the money has been on Seattle. So good luck. Yeah. So to Arizona we go, where the LA Rams are playing the Cardinals. Again, must win for the Cardinals, and almost feels like a must win for the Rams, considering they lost last week at home to the Niners. Just a bad loss. I feel like they didn't show up till the second half.
It's just the NFL is very just up and down every week. You really don't know what to expect, because like the Rams go in there and absolutely beat Tampa Bay. Like Tampa Bay, everybody thinks
they look like the Super Bowl team coming out of the NFC.
And then they go to lose to the 49ers. The 49ers are complete garbage. I mean, they're not even good. They're banged up. And then they lose. They lose to the Niners. So it's like, what LA team's going to show up this week? I guess we don't. We got to wait and see.
So Andrew Whitworth, the offensive lineman for the Rams, he's still out. I think he's out for another couple weeks. The Cardinals don't really have any notable injuries coming in.
And the line has shifted actually pretty major in this one. So, I mean, it's went from a pick'em into the Cardinals are getting 3 points at home. So a lot of people are swaying towards LA Rams because they think this is actually, a must-win for LA. Yeah,
so we'll see. I know this because I'm a Vikings fan, but if the Vikings win and the Cardinals lose this game, the Vikings actually will jump them and be in that last and final playoff spot. So the Cardinals trying to, keep their season alive and those playoff hopes alive. So this should be a great game. Yeah. So I'm excited for this one. Could be one of the best games of the weekend. Philadelphia is playing in Green Bay in the afternoon tilt. Here the Packers are favored by 8.5 points. Philly coming off that loss. They're 3-7. They're horrible, and they're a game out of first place.
Yeah, that's it is.
They're funny. They're 3-7-1 actually. I'm pretty sure, right? Because they have that tie.
They have that tie.
So I don't know what Green Bay. I will say this. Obviously, I always keep my eye out on the Packers because they're in my favorite team's division. They are the team that I feel like usually plays down to their competition. Yeah. And even last year, I think they played the Eagles, and the Packers were good last year, and they lost at home on the Thursday night game to Philly. So it's weird with them. When they played the Jacksonville, like I mentioned, they were favorites by 13 points, and that ended up being like a one-possession game. Mm-hmm. So I'm not sure. I mean, the Packers just sometimes can look like they're cruising. They're 8-3, and then they just drop a random egg like this in the game like this. I don't expect that to happen. Obviously, I think they're way better than Philly this year, but we'll see.
I think that we gotta see what happens with the Carson Wentz, Jalen Hurts type transition, if they're gonna do it at all. Because honestly, they were supposed to do that for the Seattle game, and Carson Wentz came out and looked horrible like he normally does. They were supposed to give Jalen Hurts a lot of snaps. There was supposed to be a lot of snaps for Jalen Hurts. I don't know what happened.
I feel like
he ended up just throwing one pass.
I feel like he got caught, Peterson, in the strategy.
Yeah, I guess so, because it's like you didn't even really give the guy a shot, and that was the team to give it a shot to, because Seattle, he would have been able to probably move the ball passing wise. And I mean, Carson Wentz still looked horrible. I mean, he was against the worst pass defense in the league, and he did decent, but honestly, he got lucky with the last touchdown, obviously, that he passed the Hail Mary at the end of the game. That screwed all the sports bettors in the world. They made everybody's NFL sports betting career end. But
no, it's not even the touchdown. It's that he went for 2. Why the fuck are you going for 2? Why?
Yeah, it is. It's
honestly
funny.
What is his why? I know he's all with this analytics stuff, but that makes no goddamn sense.
Yeah, everybody's still salty.
If you go for 2
game.
and you don't get it, now you got to go for 2 again if some miracle happens on the onside kick and you get another touchdown.
It's a very salty situation for sports bettors in that game. But
so salty.
But now we got, like I said, Green Bay, one of those teams that I agree with you when they play down to the competition, that for some reason, like I said, their defense is suspect too. That their defense can give up points, and somehow, you never know. Philly could come out of nowhere and throw something together and actually play halfway decent. Depends.
Their defense is like all right.
The Phillies' defense is actually pretty
right,
decent. Yeah, Phillies' defense is okay. It's not that bad. Their defense is actually pretty decent. Now, let's see. Are they going to make Carson Wentz play most of the game, or are they going to move Jalen Hurts into this? Are they going to make him in the mix? We don't know. So it's kind of a game you kind of got to play.
I feel like last week they were trying to do that, and then the reporters caught on, and then they asked Peterson about it, and he was like, oh, no, he took the normal amount of snaps. So then I feel like his ego was like, fuck, I can't prove these reporters right. So I went to sit him.
So they just sat him.
That. Yeah,
and still lost the game anyway. So, I mean, it doesn't really matter. It's like, the Eagles are a bad team in a bad division, but, of course, they still have a shot to make the playoffs somehow.
I don't know.
If they start winning out of nowhere. But that's another game I would probably stay away from.
Yeah, so then we have the Patriots. Somehow, they're like, they just will not give up on this season. They're 5-6. They're playing in LA against the Chargers. Justin Herbert obviously having a great rookie year, but that team is 3-8. Anthony Lynn, God, I really liked his personality, but coaching wise, this has to be like his last season, because in the last game they get that crazy Hail Mary pass to Justin Herbert on 4th and 27.
And then they absolutely just lose their mind on the last 40 seconds of the game.
What did they do with those 40 seconds? They were like celebrating the
catch. No
catch.
idea what they were doing. I have no idea.
Now,
you want to know how frustrating this was? Because we had the over 50 in that game.
Oh, no.
We had over 50. All they needed to do was score that touchdown.
It was
first off, the
first
off, the Hail Mary happens, and then he doesn't get in the end zone. He gets to the 1. There's 40 seconds left. And what are they doing?
You got to think, all right, spike.
They didn't even spike the ball. They're getting to the line.
Touchdown.
They're getting to the line, and they're trying to run a play. Nobody knows what play they're running. They're all standing around. They have no clue what to do. Then they get together, and then they go in shotgun formation. Then he runs under center, and then gets mauled.
It looked like the linebacker read that shit right away, because you could see the linebacker was like, I know what you're doing.
He gets completely mauled, and then the game's over with, and everybody's like standing there like, I know I was in front of the TV standing there like, what the hell just happened? Like, they could have had like 30 seconds to run 3 plays.
I'm pretty sure
to try to score.
The Bills head coach went up to Anthony Lynn and just said thank you at the end. Like, when they shake hands, he was like, thank you.
It was so stupid. But all right, getting back to this game now, because again, that's another game that was salty in the NFL for sports bettors.
Salty bettors.
But I don't even want to mention the Steelers game that happened on Wednesday. The Steelers were minus 10.5. Trace McSorley comes in out of nowhere, throws a 70-yard bomb.
Lucky for me, when this game was supposed to be last Thursday, I picked the Steelers. I put $7 on the Steelers minus 4.5. So they were 4.5 point favorites at that point, and they won by 5.
Yeah.
So I got that money.
It's just nothing but like bad beats and just bad shit that's happening in the NFL when it comes to sports.
Yeah, I figured I'm way better gambling in college football than the NFL, but the NFL is so much fun.
I know.
All right, so
back to the Charger game and the Patriots game here.
So New England 5-6.
Yeah, New England is another. It's a team obviously that won't give up. They're my team, my favorite team. So they haven't. I'm always kind of a little bit biased with them, but the Chargers' defense is absolutely terrible. Their defense is
God, if
very
they would have
suspect.
had that Texans game, or even the Bills game where Cam fumbled, they would have been 6-5.
Yeah,
I mean, coulda, woulda, shoulda, whatever.
The Chargers' defense is terrible. They've gave up a lot of winning games this year. The games that they should have won, the Chargers have gave up a lot. There's been about 3 or 4 games where they were up in the fourth quarter and then they end up losing the game. So the defense is very suspect in this matchup, and the line has switched from minus 2.5 down to a pick. So people are leaning with New England. Now, I think New England obviously depends how they run the ball, because Cam Newton for some reason still can't throw the ball. Yeah, I don't know why. He was a great quarterback at one point. Now he's not too good. So this is a game that's definitely a 50-50 shot in this game of who's going to win this game, because you got to know who's going to show up. Is Cam Newton going to show up and actually play halfway decent, and the Chargers defense play garbage? Because New England's defense is pretty good. Defensively, they're pretty solid defensively. So they should be able to hold Herbert to a little bit.
I mean, they held the Cardinals to 17 points last week, right? So
I mean, their defense is pretty solid. But on the road, we'll see how they perform. This is definitely a coin flip game, though.
All right. And then we have Denver, the Broncos, with a quarterback now, it looks like. I think Drew Lock will play. The 4 quarterbacks got fined. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, I won't get much into it, but it's just annoying that the only reason pretty much they got punished and fined is because I guess there was a photo that went out there. Obviously, the NFL's not going to say that, but that's the reality of it. Yeah. Because so many of these, the Saints locker room, did you see after one game, like a few weeks ago, they're like dancing, celebrating, and with no mask. On, so it's just super inconsistent. That's what pisses me off about just everything going on right now is inconsistency. I'm fed up with it, and that just was so stupid. Like clearly, like I'm sure this is going on everywhere in team meetings and shit. They're not wearing masks sometimes. That's just the reality of it. And the Broncos just, because there was a photo, it's all about like being politically correct and the image that it puts out there. So they suspended all their fucking quarterbacks. I
know, it's just so crazy. Stupid. It really is.
So anyway, they're back. They got fined. Drew Lock with the obviously politically correct apology and all this shit. So Drew Lock will play, but I think they're still going to get rocked because they're playing against Kansas City, Pat Mahomes.
Yeah.
They're coming off that win against Tampa.
And Patrick Mahomes, obviously, everybody knows that guy is balls out. He can ball, and he's got offensive weapons up the ass. I mean, he literally, any of his receivers can take it the distance on any play. So they have a phenomenal offense. Their defense, another story. Their defense is not too good. And the defense needs to get their shit straight probably to make them a Super Bowl run. Because I don't know about this offense, if the offense can carry them. Because I seen Patrick Mahomes on the sideline in that Tampa game, and he was kind of getting frustrated with that defense. You could tell because the defense doesn't really stop people too many times. Now, on the Denver side, Denver's defense is pretty decent. But any decent defense going against Kansas City's offense, I still believe they're still going to be able to put up points.
I agree.
So either way, they're still going to probably put up points. Denver's offense, surprisingly, with Drew Lock at quarterback, is actually pretty good. I like their offense with Drew Lock at quarterback. They can move the ball. And I think they'll be able to move this ball against Kansas City. Depending how the weather looks, if it's a good day and the weather is nice. This is, I believe, the Sunday night game.
Yep.
So this should be, if the weather's nice in this game, there should be some scoring in this game. I do like this to be a kind of a back and forth game with maybe KC, jumping a couple scores, obviously, and that's why the number is -14. Of course, it's right at that key number.
I know.
Because to win that spread, now you need the 2 touchdowns and a field goal to win by, or 3 touchdowns to win by. So of course they're gonna go screw you there, and wouldn't be surprised if Sunday night something stupid happens then. So. We'll see what happens on that game.
Yeah, another note, just Jerry Jeudy is questionable for the Broncos. Obviously, he's the rookie receiver. He's been having a pretty good year. So
he's good.
We'll see what happens there. The Washington football team.
I hate even saying that.
I know,
it sounds so stupid.
Well, the Washington football team is playing at the Steelers. The Steelers are 10-point favorites. The Steelers just won this ugly-ass game against Baltimore, and I don't know what to make of them. They're undefeated. They're 11-0, the only undefeated team in the league, but I think they're frauds. Like, I just can't get into it. Like, their defense sometimes makes splash plays, but then their offense just sometimes Ben had a couple of drops here and there, but
he had an interception on the goal line.
On the goal line, it was 4th down, but it was just kind of like
that was kind of stupid. But
I don't know. So I don't know what to make of this team. I think the Washington team, I think at least their defense, Chase Young is a pretty good rookie, so they could put pressure on Big Ben. So we'll see what happens here. The line, there's a little bit more money going into Washington right now. The line was Pittsburgh was favored by 11. Now they're only favored by 10.
And I think that's because of a Wednesday play that Pittsburgh played on Wednesday. So people are not really knowing what to expect on kind of a short week for a team to play on a Wednesday, then come and play Monday night, which is similar to playing on Thursday, then playing on...
You mean Sunday then to Thursday?
Yeah, Sunday to Thursday game. So it's like, it's similar to that. It's really not too much to look into when it comes to that. Now, Steelers, their defense, I love their defense. I've always loved Steeler defense.
Minkah Fitzpatrick is a stud.
The Steeler defense is always solid, always a great defense. Their offense, a little suspect because you never really know, Big Ben, if he's going to throw lights out or if he's going to be a little bit inconsistent. You really never know. So their offense is a little suspect. Defense is great. Washington, terrible. I don't really like Washington whatsoever. I mean, they routed the Cowboys on Thanksgiving.
Yeah. That was their last game, actually.
But to be honest with you, it wasn't a rout. The Cowboys just gave up after the third quarter because they made stupid play calls. But it was actually a close game against the Cowboys, and the Cowboys are absolutely pretty much terrible. Yeah. So I don't really give no credit to them blowing out the Cowboys. So in this game, I don't know. Washington's probably going to get completely shut down. I don't see their offense going to be able to move the ball too much. And Yeah, that's that on that game. I don't think Washington's going to do too much.
The Steelers, Bud Dupree, starting linebacker, out for the year.
Yeah.
I think that's their second starting linebacker that's out for the year.
Yeah, that is a tough loss for them.
So their defense might not be as good because he was a big part of that unit. So that's the Monday afternoon game. We have 2 Monday games this weekend or this coming week. That one is at 5 o'clock Eastern. Then at 8:15 Eastern, we have the Buffalo Bills playing against the San Francisco 49ers. This is being played in Arizona because the Niners can't come home, obviously with COVID restrictions and being shut down. So this one's going to be played in a neutral field. Not that it matters much this year, I guess. I think every field's kind of a neutral field for the most part. And the Bills are only favored by 1. I'm kind of confused, and I'm assuming it's because obviously the Niners just beat the Rams on the road. But the Bills, every week I keep thinking like, I don't know if they're gonna be, they're like legit or not, and then they keep winning. So they're 8-3, first place in the AFC East. In line to make the playoffs. So they're looking like a good squad. I know that offense is legit. Their defense is a little shaky, but I mean the only thing the Niners I feel like have going for them is that defense. They have a good defense, and Nick Mullins, I guess he has some experience with that team now because he was there last year. So we'll see, but I don't know. That line's a little weird to me, but I thought it would be a field goal.
I think the line is a little bit reflecting how the 49ers go and beat the Rams because now they're getting credibility for beating the Rams. And Buffalo, I think they're a pretty good team.
Yeah.
I think they're a pretty solid team. And on the road, they're 3-2. They're not that great on the road, but they don't need to be that great on the road to beat San Francisco. Because San Francisco is an average team.
Right.
They're, if not below average team.
Yeah.
So Buffalo should come in there. They could play their game, and I think they should be able to win this one out. They should, because they kind of like San Francisco is. They don't even know what the hell's going on with them going home, and they're tossed up now. They're playing in a neutral stadium, so we'll see what happens on this game. But I do think that the Niners are probably a little bit overvalued here because they went and beat the Rams the week prior.
And you can make the case that they're fighting for a playoff spot because they're 5-6, the Niners, that is. But I think they don't have any expectations on them. Obviously, once Garoppolo went out and they have so many injuries that
I don't think so either.
I mean, if they go winless the rest of the season, no one's getting fired. Everything's all right. So, excuse me while I throw up for a second because there's a Tuesday night game and it's the Cowboys and the Ravens, and I guess I should be thankful that there's going to be Tuesday night football, but this game just
I know it's weird having having football on these random days throughout the.
I'm cool with that.
It's cool. It is.
But what the Cowboys and Ravens?
Yeah. I mean, so in this game depends on Lamar Jackson if he's going to come back, obviously, because RG3 definitely ain't the answer. I would rather go Trace McSorley.
Yeah, he looks better.
Trace McSorley just threw for more yards on one play than RG3 threw the whole entire game.
Yeah.
So it's just it depends on what happens there. Obviously, if Lamar Jackson can come back. If Lamar Jackson comes back, this should be a complete rout that the Ravens should absolutely destroy the Cowboys.
It might be smart, it's a risk, but
it's weird because the numbers moved from 7.5 down to 7, so people are betting the Cowboys again. People getting love on the Cowboys again against a Ravens team that was a Super Bowl contending team to start this year. Now they're falling off track a little bit. They have to get hot at the end of the season. They have to get hot, and I think this could be a game that get their motor going. To really put it to Dallas, because Dallas is absolutely garbage,
right?
And really run the score up on this team. So what should happen is the Ravens should blow the Cowboys out, but we know that nothing in the NFL that should happen ever happens.
Yeah, so who knows what to do? This is the year of is anybody eliminated from the playoffs yet? Because we're in week, what is this, week 13?
The Jets. What do you mean?
I guess the Jets. No. Okay. They're in the AFC.
The Jets are definitely eliminated.
But if they were in the NFC East, they'd be alive for the division title.
Crazy.
Still.
It's nuts.
What a crazy year.
Yeah, it is
obviously,
crazy year.
week 13. So I'm excited for these games. Obviously, at this point, once it gets past week 10, I think it gets really super exciting because there's a lot of games that have a lot on the line.
Yeah.
Now that standings are kind of getting figured out. So we have a lot to look forward to.
Yeah.
Again, Frank knows his betting stuff. You guys should give him a follow. Where can they find you?
At LINEMAKER Sports, guys. We're on YouTube. We're on Facebook. We got the website. You can go anywhere on any social media platform. Hit LINEMAKER Sports, and it'll pop up. Make sure you guys jump on in there if you guys want more plays. We're gonna give you guys a free play this week. Both of us are. We're gonna give you guys a free play. So let's get to it. What's going to be your free play?
Since my free play is probably not as legitimate as yours. So my free play, I'm thinking, I don't know why. This is probably a stupid play, but I have a feeling the Titans will destroy the Browns. Cleveland has been playing bad teams where they can kind of get on the board or keep it close and run the ball. Mm-hmm. And so I think really, I will know by the end of the first quarter if I'm going to win or lose this bet, I feel like. Because if the Titans go up in this game by anything more than a touchdown, the Browns are going to have to throw. And if they have to throw, it means the ball is going to be in Baker Mayfield's hands. And I think even the Browns themselves are telling us that Baker Mayfield is not that good of a quarterback. That's why they just depend on the ground game. Obviously, they have a great ground game with Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt is questionable, so that obviously depends if everything goes on to Nick Chubb. So if the Titans can just pretty much control the Browns' ground game just in the beginning and let them get behind, I think the Titans can take control of this game. And the Titans' defense sometimes, they look like they're terrible, and then occasionally on the week here and there they'll come through. So I don't know. I just don't have any confidence in Baker Mayfield. The fact that the team has kind of, kept him on a leash tells me that they don't have much confidence in him. And, that line has moved. It's 5.5 now, so it's a little bit risky, but I think the Titans will definitely win. I would say by a field goal. If it goes up to 6.5, I would still bet the Titans. But at least at 5.5, it could be a 2 field goal game, and I'm good with that. So that would be my play of the week.
I agree with that. I like that though, because like I said, this is the test for Cleveland. So if you guys don't think that Cleveland is the 8-3 team that everybody might portray them to be, Titans is definitely your play.
And they've been playing like shitty teams lately. They played the Eagles and they beat the Eagles, and then last week they played the Jaguars and beat them by 2 points. So I don't know. I haven't seen that Cleveland game that gives me any confidence in them.
Yeah. So my free play that I'm gonna give you guys for this week, we're gonna go to Sunday Night Football actually. So we're gonna go Sunday Night Football, the KC and the Denver game, and like I said, pending the weather in this game, I do like the over. I like the over in this game. Reason why: Kansas City's offense is lights out. You're going to get some scoring from them. They are lights out, and they really can't be stopped by no matter how good of a defense it is. They really can't be stopped. Their defense is suspect. Their defense can give up points. Denver, when Drew Lock is quarterback, their offense is very good. Their offense actually is pretty efficient when he's the quarterback, and he likes to take shots. I like quarterbacks that like to take shots, and that's how I like to grab overs, because quarterbacks that like to risk it, you got higher probability for 50-yard plays, 40-yard plays
chunk
to go
plays,
for big chunk plays to go for touchdowns real quick. So I like,
and if it's a turnover, you're giving the ball back to Patrick Mahomes.
Exactly. So so that's what I'm saying. I like this game to go over the number, and it's going to fluctuate. Opened up 48, it's at 51. It's probably going to fluctuate anywhere in there. Your key number to look for in that would be 49. If you could somehow finagle it, you buy points and everything, get it to 49. That's your key point for 49 to go over. But I do like the over in this game for Sunday Night Football. Kansas City Chiefs going against Denver Broncos.
Awesome. Well, I like that, and I'll probably put like $5 on it or $10. That's a big bet for me. I'm very conservative with my bets because I don't trust it. And the Seahawks, you're the reason why. So that's our preview show. We're previewing, obviously, the games that are coming up this weekend. We're very excited for that. And then we'll be back next week. We'll do a recap. We'll go through the highlights. We might talk some basketball. The NBA is right around the corner. Cannot wait for that. And we'll put our social media right here below so you guys can follow us, like, and do all that good shit. So thanks for joining us. We will see you next week.